Hello everyone, my name is Mehek. I hope you guys are doing fine and safe. And like always, I also hope that you guys are reading. Back with a very interesting book that I finished reading. It's called The Little Coffee Shop of Kabul. Yeah, it's by Deborah Rodriguez. That's how it looks. I have to tell you something about this book is that after a while, I really enjoyed a fictional read. Like, I was totally engrossed in the book and I absolutely loved it. So if you're looking for a fictional read to be, totally vested in, this is the one. Now coming to the book is set in Kabul, Afghanistan. It's about these, set of men and women who come together because of various circumstances and they bond over this unlikely friendship which kind of changes the course of their life. Now coming to the story, Sunny, who is one of the main characters, you can say, she's an American woman. She is 38-year-old and she has opened this coffee shop in Kabul. And she has made basically, Kabul her home. So although Kabul is, now like almost it's like a war zone because there's constant bombing happening. There's a rise of Taliban again, or you can say the re-emergence of Taliban. And there are really strict restrictions for women around. In spite of that, she has made Kabul her home, and this coffee shop that she has opened there is actually a reason of pride and joy for her, because through this cafe, she gets to welcome and serve so many people, whether it's the Afghans, the Americans, the expats, the soldiers, and so on. But like I said, with the re-emergence of Taliban and these constant bombing and tensions happening, the city is soon becoming unsafe for her and her cafe. She's also torn between the love of two men, which you'll have to read in the book to find out. Now, moving on to the, I would say the interesting characters that, work in her cafe and people who visit the cafe. The first one is Halajan. She's someone who is the owner of the building. And, she's an Afghan lady, but she's quite modern in her approach and she's hiding her own secrets. So she's someone who often remembers about the days when Taliban was not around and the city was quite safe. And although certain things are sinful and absolutely no for an Afghan lady, but our Halajan is quite modern in her approach. So she's someone who smokes in the back alley. She wears jean skirt under her poshak or burqa, and she's also someone who's got short hair. And the secret that she's hiding is that, so she's basically a widow, and she's got in touch with her childhood sweetheart again, who's also a widow. And they both are basically having a secret romance, and there's exchange of letters and everything, and that's the secret that she's hiding. Next character that we have is Ahmed, who is Halajan's son. He's the security guard at the cafe. He's someone who is, I would say very strict and traditionalist at heart. He believes that a woman should be, doing this and that and following strict protocols. Yet he's someone who is constantly having tug of war in his heart, between the teachings of the Quran and what his heart desires. He often thinks, that the religious men out there are asking him to follow something in the name of fear, whereas if he actually listens to Quran or he reads Quran, it's telling him otherwise. And then there is his heart desire that he wants to do certain things, but he's holding it back. So that's about Ahmed. Now we come to the characters, the interesting characters who visit the cafe and are really important characters of the story. The first one is Jack. He's one of the love interest of Sunny, and he's also someone who is he's also from America, but he's in Kabul for a secret mission, and as a consultant, he calls himself a consultant, and he actually gets paid for dangerous work, I would say. Then we have Isabel. She's a journalist. She's a freelance journalist. She's hired by BBC to come to Kabul and work on this dangerous story, which covers on the rise of the drug lords in Afghanistan and this opium poppy cultivation, which is causing drug addiction among kids and women. So she's here in Kabul to cover that story. Next, we have Candace, who is a wealthy woman. She is someone she's again from America, and she falls in love with this Afghan man, and she's so madly in love. She comes with him to Afghanistan to raise money for his orphanage. But soon she realizes that he might be running a sleeper cell in the name of orphanage. So yeah, these are the characters who visit the cafe. And then lastly, another very important character who kind of takes the story in a new direction, I would say, is Yasmina. Yasmina is someone who is from a remote village. She's been taken by these drug lords, and for prostitution. She's taken away from her uncle. But on the way, when these drug lords realize that she is pregnant, she lost her husband, so she's pregnant from her husband, and they realize that she's pregnant, they basically throw her out of the car and beat her up. And Sunny finds Yasmina, and she not only brings her to the cafe, to give her a shelter, but she also offers her a job so she can sustain herself. But her pregnancy that Yasmina is keeping a secret might prove risky for everyone else, because in Afghan, no matter, even if she was pregnant from her husband who has passed away, but if you're an alone lady with a child, you are as good as a ward. That's how they consider. So her pregnancy can actually put everyone at risk. So yeah, these are the interesting characters and what's happening with each of them. What you read further is this tale where all these people come together at the cafe, and they realize that there is more to each other than what meets the eye. And like I said, they form this unlikely friendship, and which actually changes the course of each one of them. In fact, in the book it says that one little cafe, five extraordinary women. So if we just talk about these five women who come together, whether it is Halajan, Yasmina, Sunny, Candace, and Isabel, they all come together, and all of them have their own secrets and past and fears and everything. But in spite of all of them, in spite of all of that, they all have a common goal, is that they're trying to save someone. Whether Yasmina is trying to save Laila, who is actually her younger sister, who is still stuck at the remote village, and she might be soon sold to prostitution again, so she's trying to save Laila. Whether it is Isabel, who through her story is trying to save the women in Afghanistan, who are behind the prisoner, who are behind the prison, or so all these women are trying to save someone. But the catch here, which is the climax of the story, is that will they be able to save one of them? So that is what the story is all about. And I would just say that this is a very interesting story with interesting characters, and you will be totally engrossed. And it's I would say the ending is both happy and sad. Happy because each one of them, like I said, these unexpected friendship changes the courses of their life for good, let me assure you that. But no matter how strong and strong or closely knit this group is of men and women who are out there to save someone, they're not strong enough to save all the women or themselves, all the women in Afghanistan or themselves. So that is one thing. So it's kind of a happy and sad ending. But all in all, it's a very interesting fiction read that I would suggest you all to read. It also, gives you insights about the plight of women in Kabul, the problem of this opium addiction and, this poppy cultivation that's happening, and the plight of women, I would say the problem of prostitution and women being treated as sex slave. And how people there, actually it's a sad fact that they're so used to there's this thing here in the book that how people in Kabul are so used to bombing, and just after bombing they go on and carry on with their life. It's as common as that. So yeah, that was all that you find out in this book. That's all on this very interesting fictional tale. I'm going to see you guys next week with another title. Till then, take care. Bye bye.